What's up, everybody? We're back with some NFL reactions, NFL recaps. I'm going to be going over Ravens, Texans, Colts, Jaguars, and then Falcons versus the Panthers. If you want to skip to your favorite teams, I will have timestamps down below in the description. Um, Speaking of down low, if you enjoy this video, make sure you comment down below also. Like and subscribe. Hit that bell to get notified when I post. I think that's really about it for my intro. Let's just get down and let's just talk some football. Now let's talk about the newly addition head coach DeMeco Ryans, who brings in, I believe, the offensive assistant from San Francisco. So when he does that, I'm expecting a Kyle Shanahan offense, which he did implement that, which I think is going to help CJ Stroud a lot. Texans are a run-first team, so going into this matchup against the Baltimore Ravens, I knew it was going to be a tough matchup, as the Ravens have always been a difficult defense to, first of all, run against. And their pass defense is solid. They don't have Marlon Humphrey, but you really don't need him against the Texans, as the Texans don't have they really don't have weapons. They have Robert Woods, who's a little on the older side now. Nico Collins, he has potential. They have John Mechie, who I don't think they use. I don't recall hearing his name. They have Dalton Schultz that they brought from the Dallas Cowboys, and then obviously they have Damian Pierce, but for the run game. You're not going to run against the Baltimore Ravens with how good their linebacking core is. They have Roquan Smith, Patrick Queen. You're just not going to run against those boys. They're fast, they're smart, they're physical. But first few drives, they were really, really bringing the heat against CJ Stroud. You're going to hear me calling him Marcus Stroud. I don't know why, but his name is CJ Stroud. just to get that out of the way. But they were bringing the heat against C.J. Stroud. I expected, after the first few drives, I thought C.J. was going to get rattled, and he wasn't. They after those first few drives, they cleaned up their protection. And every once in a while, yeah, of course, they're going to win their battles, and they're going to rush C.J. Stroud to make a quick decision. But other than that, they picked it up really second half. And they kept his pocket clean, and he was able to make some check down reads. He made some good passes, which is really good to see, especially considering his receivers don't get a lot of separation. They tried running the ball as you have to. You got to play in front of the stick, so make it 2nd and 7, 2nd and 6, or 2nd and 5, or if shorter, better. But it was going to be really hard for them to do that against this Baltimore Ravens defense. Speaking of defense, we're kind of talking about the Texans. I really thought Will Anderson did a solid job being, I believe, the 3rd overall pick. Don't quote me on that. I think he was a 3rd overall pick. Made a couple of sacks, a couple of pressures. That was really good to see. They bring in Shaq Griffin from the Jags. He's mostly known as a Seattle Seahawks defensive back or cornerback. That's really going to help DeMeco Ryans out and that secondary. They're going they're going forward. So it's a team this year that you're not going to be like, oh, they're a playoff team. But they're headed towards the right direction. The Baltimore Ravens, they did not have Mark Andrews, so the offense didn't look as up to par as it should. But I'm really excited to see them and their new offense, because their offensive coordinator, I don't know his name from last year, he ended up just like dropping down or just leaving, or you can pretty much say that they're going to fire him, so he decided to say I'm out. But I didn't like their offensive coordinator from last year. It was too much of a college style offense. They had the 300-pound fullback who's good, but not to motion snap with him, you know what I mean? So I was excited to see that. And their offense actually looked like an NFL style offense. They have Odell Beckham, which is the huge signing. They have Mark Andrews, who was hurt, and they had J.K. Dobbins, but I believe he tore his Achilles, and now he's done for the year, which is a real drag for them. But they got Gus Edwards and Justice Hill, something Hill. So they got to step up. But the rookie sensation, Zay Flowers, I want to say sensation. He's just the first week. But he's looking real promising. He's reading the secondary really good. There was one instance where it was cover 2, and the safety was playing a little bit more inside, and he kind of ran like a fade. It was like kind of like a fade wheel, and he found the soft spot in the defense, and Lamar hit him for a beautiful, beautiful strike. And for that to happen, that's really promising for the Ravens and Lamar Jackson. I expect Zay to get more targets or touches, especially when Mark Andrew comes back, which sounds weird because you expect Mark to get the touches, but with Mark coming back, I think that's going to really open up the offense for Odell and Zay Flowers. But I think the Ravens are looking really good. I think everything's going to start turning around. I mean, it's hard to say turn around for them because they won, but I think they're really going to start showing who the Ravens can be. But other than that, I think that game was fairly decent for the Texans. They were pretty much in it all game. I think it was like 21-7 going into the fourth. So they were in that game. Just Ravens are just naturally a better team, so they ended up pulling away with the win. Now we're going to talk about the... who do I want to talk about? Oh, yeah. Let's talk about the Panthers-Falcons. I was going to talk about the Colts, but let's talk about Panthers. Bryce Young, first overall pick, looks solid. I mean, I don't like that offensive line he's playing behind, but surprisingly, they did good against the pass rush. Kept his pocket clean for the most part. The run game wasn't all that there for them. He was going up against a defense that wasn't so good last year, but Falcons really emphasized on improving that defense, adding Jesse Bates being the main guy. They added Bud Dupree, he's okay, but with Grady Jarrett and new addition Calais Campbell, you would hope Bud Dupree improves as the offense is not really going to focus on him. I didn't see Bud Dupree at all. They had also added Jeff Okunda. They added Jeff from the Lions. Yeah, their biggest weapon they have is Adam Thielen, but I expect A.J. Terrell to be on him most of the game or shadow him. I don't like the weapons at all that Bryce Young has. Obviously, he's a rookie. They're the worst team last year, so obviously he's not going to have good weapons or good playmakers. They had Dunto Foreman last year, but this year they added Miles Sanders. And with the addition of Calais Campbell and Grady Jarrett on the line for the Falcons, they really didn't get much running room, which is why I'm surprised he had a pretty decent clean pocket. But there's some bad throws that Bryce Young did. Hopefully he learns from them. Both of them were from like a cover one look. And Jesse Bates, the new addition, ended up with 2 interceptions that game because he pretty much lurked Bryce Young. So I hope Bryce Young learns from that and he learns that there's a safety over the middle. It's just really hard to read, I guess, for a rookie because the game is so much faster than than college football. It's just really, really hard to see, though, as a rookie, especially going up against the really, really good free safety and Jesse Bates. Other than that, Bryce Young looks solid. He's taking his check downs. I think he might have looked the worst out of the 3 rookie QBs I saw as of right now. That's just because he has no weapons, really. or the offense. I wasn't that impressed with Bryce Young. It's only week 1, but you're going up against a defense that really isn't that strong. But who knows? Going forward, change up a few things, play more to his strengths, and play in front of the sticks. Who knows? You could win that game because I believe they had 3 turnovers. I want to say Chuba Hubbard or Miles Sanders ended up fumbling. And the Falcons pretty much ended up with like 17 points just off turnovers. So if you don't do any turnovers, Carolina, especially you, Bryce Young, you're in position to win that game because that Falcons offense, horrible. Like, I love their run game. It looks like they're going to still have that run game that they had from last year, especially with the addition of Bijan Robinson. Him and Tyler Algier, excellent duo. You can see the tremendous upside that Bijan has. He hits the holes fast and with power. He had 1 fumble. They didn't lose it. You gotta take care of that ball, Bijan. Once you start fumbling, that's how you don't see playing time. I mean, he's a top 10 pick. He's gonna get playing time, but that's one way to end your career. Ask Melvin Gordon. So you got to hold on to that ball. Drake London, absent that game. Absent. I mean, if I remember correctly, Desmond Ridder, who's supposed to hopefully take the next turn this year, he didn't have a pass over, I believe, 15 yards. Everything was checked down. Everything was under 10-yard passes. That's boring. That's super boring. Kyle Pitts didn't get a pass. Well, let me put it like this. Kyle Pitts didn't get a reception until early 4th quarter. Kyle Pitts. Drake London, 0 catches. He was only targeted once. Like, that's a joke, man. What I would do if I were them, I would line up Kyle Pitts and Drake London more together. Maybe even motion out Bijan Robinson, have all 3 of them together, and start creating mismatches. If they have a linebacker on Bijan Robinson, who's a good route runner for being a running back, you have your mismatch right there. And if it's zone, I'm sure you could hit Drake London or Kyle Pitts. Those guys are good enough to read the defense and to sit in the soft spot in a zone defense. If you start doing that, I think the passing game will really open up for all 3 of those men. They're young too, especially Desmond Ridder's young too. You just got to simplify that offense. I think that will work in the passing game. And then let's say if they have, I mean, it's really easy read. If they have a linebacker on Bijan Robinson, you pass. If they have a DB on Bijan Robinson, according to personnel, obviously, if they have an extra DB to cover Bijan, you put Bijan in the backfield and you have Tyler Algier and Bijan Robinson in the backfield. Run the ball. You could RPO, you could read option, whatever, speed option. Just run the ball with that line. And I was just real disappointed to see that Atlanta Falcons offense. It was real boring. As far as the passing game goes, real boring to see. Hopefully they turn it around, because if they don't turn it around, that's going to be an offense hard to watch. Hard to watch, and they'll probably draft a QB or let go of the OC. That is horrible. Horrible. They had some good runs, considering the fact that Panthers have a good D-line. It all starts with Derrick Brown from Auburn. They have Brian Burns, excellent pass rusher. He's okay against the run, but he's mostly known as a pass rusher. Overall, that game was a little tough to watch. It was still fun because they have playmakers on both. Well, not playmakers, but they have Bryce Young, first overall pick. I want to see how he plays. And then the Falcons have playmakers, but don't know how to utilize them. They just don't. Other than the running backs, Kyle Pitts needs to be involved more, and Drake London. If you get those guys more involved, I think it'll open up more running lanes for the running backs, which is weird to say because they have excellent vision. If the lanes aren't there, they pretty much made the lane or the hole open. They found the open lane. Go, buddy. Go. Yeah, they pretty much found the open lane. Other than that, that game was a little rough to watch. Good to see where Bryce Young needs work on. I don't think he ever stared down his receiver. It's hard to say because I can't see his eyes. I mean, I could see his head movement. But in that second interception, he did move his head. He scanned his head left to right. But just because you're scanning your head, like moving around, doesn't mean you're actually looking and seeing what's going on. So I would like for him to be more aware is the word that I'm looking for right now. Bijan is a beast. So yeah, that's why it was fun to watch that game. Seeing those two guys made that game fun to watch. Last game, Jags versus Colts. This game for me was super fun to watch, especially after watching the Ravens game and the Colts game. This game was very, very different. You can tell the coordinators knew how to space the receivers. I say space the receivers, but later I'm going to talk about an interception that Anthony Richardson did, which had no spacing. But other than that, I love Shane, who's a new not new offensive coordinator, the new head coach for the Colts and the play caller, who came from the Philadelphia Eagles. I love Shane. I think he changed Jalen Hurts' career around. That's just my personal opinion. It happened about 2 years ago when Shane started calling the plays against the Denver Broncos, and that's when Jalen Hurts' career really took the 180 turn and established himself as one of the top QBs in the NFL. So I really like Shane with Anthony Richardson. Colts have I'm going to say good line. So that's another reason why I like Shane pairing up with Anthony Richardson. I just wish they had Jonathan Taylor. I think they'd be a much better team. They have good weapons, Alec Pierce, MPJ, Pittman Jr., and they should have Jonathan Taylor. So I'm disappointed Jonathan Taylor is not playing. On defense, the front seven for the Colts is really amazing. It all starts with DeForest Buckner, one of the most underrated nose tackles in the National Football League. They have Zaire Franklin, excellent linebacker, and then they have I don't know his name, something Leonard, obviously something Leonard. Really good linebacker too. The weakness of that defense is the secondary, which the Jags were doing a pretty decent job exploiting. But the Jags, I don't know why they were not hitting Christian Kirk. I think he had 3 targets, 1 catch, if that. I don't think he even caught a pass, which is odd. They were hitting Zay Jones, who caught a beautiful pass from Trevor Lawrence. I mean, beautiful pass. It was a pass where if it was any other QB, we'd be on amazed. But we got to give credit to Trevor Lawrence now. He really took a turn from second half of last year and became a really good quarterback. Calvin Ridley looks like his Atlanta days didn't look like he missed a beat. Trevor Lawrence ended up scrambling. He was looking at, I don't know who, but he ended up scrambling. Oh, he was looking at the tight end Evan Ingram. That's another weapon they got. He was looking at Evan Ingram, didn't have him open, so he started scrambling. He thought it was going to be a sack or a throwaway. 6'6" Trevor Lawrence finds Calvin Ridley back of the end zone for a touchdown. And that's just what I kind of expect from this Jags team. Lawrence really has an arm. Like, I don't mean the arm like accuracy. I mean, he has accuracy, but his arm strength is incredible. Pretty slept on, in my opinion. Nobody really talks about him as a strong arm quarterback, but he is definitely up there. Anthony Richardson also looked really good, other than that one interception where he had two guys in the same vicinity, and the Jags were in the zone defense, and I don't think Richardson saw him because he threw him, and the defender was able to jump up and get the interception. Anthony Richardson, he wasn't taking big hits until the last 2 minutes, which I think he was trying to make a play for the Colts, but he ended up getting hurt in the red zone. But I think they would have scored a touchdown. He just needs to learn how to live on for the next play, I guess is the words. Live on and play for the next game, because now you're in question of playing the next game because you got hurt the last 2 minutes. I think he should be fine though. I was really impressed by he was throwing against the blitz. So if the blitz was coming from the right side, he was actually throwing the ball to the right side, as there's no really defenders back there no more because you're blitzing from that side. A lot of QBs don't understand to do that. You see a lot of top tier quarterbacks doing that. So I was really impressed by that. Pretty good pocket presence as well. He's going up against Josh Allen for the Jags, who's a good pass rusher. I think he had 3 sacks that game, so he was doing his thing also. Jags defense isn't that, I'm not like in awe of them, but they made plays when they needed to. The Colts were 0 of 4 on 4th down until the last drive for the Colts. That's when they finally converted on a 4th down, so they were 1 of 5. The Colts were on 4th down. So the Jags defense stepped up when they needed to. But sometimes, Shane, you got to kick your 3 or just punt the ball. Like, trust your defense, because the defense was playing solid. So that was one thing I noticed. Shane's an aggressive guy. But other than that game was really fun to watch. Pretty fast-paced. Seeing Zaire Franklin run sideline to sideline, make plays was fun to watch. There's not very many good linebackers like that. And he's pretty slept on as a linebacker. Yeah, that game was just fun to watch, all in general, for me personally anyway. I think if Jonathan Taylor plays, that's going to be a whole new offense. It's tough to bring down Anthony Richardson, who's my personal favorite quarterback coming out the draft. A lot of that is kind of because I'm biased, because I like Shane as a head coach. I wanted him with the Denver Broncos. But yeah, I really like where the Colts are going. Good weapons, young team, good core, good line. So yeah, I'm really, really excited to see the Colts going forward, who I think play the Texans. So that's going to be a good game to go over with you guys. But yeah, other than that, hope you guys like this video. Like and subscribe, hit the bell to get notified. And one quick change I'm going to do, I said I'm going to upload all the games by Wednesday. The last games I will cover will be Thursday, and that video should be up before the Thursday night game. So that's one minor change I'm doing. I'm still going along. I'm still trying to change a few things and fit all these games into my schedule. So I'm still playing with that. So I wanted everything done by Wednesday, but that's not going to happen. I'm not going to lie to you guys. So that's just one quick change. But yeah, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Peace.